I want to run through a little bit of background quickly on who Foundation 648 is and why that matters, and then also do a couple of run-throughs of some sample clients that we've implemented Sitefinity for, what problems that they had, and how Sitefinity uniquely addressed those at the same time. So that's my agenda, that's my charge here today. And I'm going to try and do it as briefly as possible, but like Michael before, I certainly welcome questions and interruptions, so at any point in time, if you want me to stop and dive deeper into something, I'm happy to do it. I have promised everybody involved that I will not get too technical. We'll try and keep this at the business level, but if anybody does have any questions, feel free to raise your hand and or come see me afterwards. Happy to discuss those in any way, shape, or form. So as Chris said, we're with Foundation 648, and we're a web consultancy, a little bit different than a digital agency. We really focus a lot on how we apply web technologies and digital technologies to enable our customers to achieve their business objectives. We really frame that around these three phrases: real engagement, real support, and real growth. And when we engage with a client, we're trying to frame all of this around those particular contexts. And the term customer experience and user experience came out earlier today, along with this whole idea of digital transformation and digital disruption. And that's really the role that we play in the marketplace, and what we help our clients do is to understand how to take these technologies, to understand how to engage with their customers or users or members, whoever those are, and transform that into a solution that's going to help them achieve their near-term objectives, but also build a platform that's going to enable them to grow. And so we build the engagement model. We surround that with all the support. That's technical support, that's strategic support, it's ongoing consulting and marketing support, all those things that are needed to help take an investment in these digital technologies and then eventually realize the growth that you're looking to achieve, whether that's revenue or users or profit or whatever those metrics are. And so that's what we do. A very interesting statistic that we've learned is that digitally mature companies, so these are companies that have learned to embrace digital technologies, are on average 26% more profitable than those that are less mature in digital technologies, right? So that's a pretty significant differentiator in terms of profitability. There are those companies then that are digitally immature, that don't know how to take advantage of these technologies and use them for their business, and they're 24% less profitable than the median line, which means companies that are not learning how to embrace digital technologies in a mature fashion are going to be out of business in a very short amount of time. So there's a significant threat in the marketplace to companies that don't learn to adapt and adopt and bring online, whether it be a CMS or other solutions that are out there, in order to help them operate and deliver a digital business model. And so that's really what we view our role in the marketplace and how we help our customers and clients. That being said, what we're here to do today is to show why Sitefinity is a good solution, why we use it often with our clients and with our engagements. And it kind of starts about what we're passionate about. When I started the company, huge believer in content management systems, WCM solutions, in such a way we will not let a customer out the door without a content management solution. There's no excuse these days to not have a CMS of some sort in place, whether it be a WordPress or a SharePoint or a, God forbid, anything else that's out there. But whether it's open source or licensed, you've got to have a CMS in place. There's no reason that you should not be able to maintain the content on your website. We're passionate about delivering a CMS solution that requires minimal training. And we saw a brief demo of the Sitefinity CMS today. One of the things that we found uniquely attractive about it is how explorable it is by our end users. So with some minimal exposure and some minimal training, they're able to get in and be productive in the CMS and get excited about the tools and technologies they have in a very short amount of time. And that means for us that we get to spend less time training, less time support, Q&A, those types of things. Our customers can go out and be productive and get excited about the platform in a very quick way. And they don't have to worry about managing the structure and the organization of their site. It's a very fluid, dynamic platform where, again, which is a minimal amount of training, they have complete control over their CMS. They don't have to call a programmer to make structural and significant changes to their website. The tools that we've provided enable them to do that. And so we really want to enable our clients to own their future when it comes to managing their website content and not shackle them to a programmer or development team in order to maintain the day-to-day operations of their site. We're also extremely passionate about the browser. We believe that a website should work on every device all the time. So whether it's a mobile, whether it's an iPad or a tablet or a Surface or a laptop or desktop or a 27-inch monitor, that we want to have a website that looks, functions, responds correctly across all of those devices with a single code base. So we're big believers in responsive design. And we also believe that everything should be integrated. You know, this whole idea of the best of breed is fantastic because you do have to bring the right tool to the right job, but if they're fractured, if they're siloed, if they're not connected with one another, both visually and technically, you're going to have a disrupted user experience and you're going to lose customers and clients as you go through that. So we're big believers in integrating everything. And whether that's a single sign-on at a minimum or more expansive integration, it's absolutely crucial to make sure that you bring a cohesive user experience to the solution. And largely, and this is our strategic deliverable, we want to make sure that we not only solve today's problems, but we're building a platform that provides for the future of our clients at the same time. So it's extremely important we solve today's problems, but we also have a platform and a roadmap in place that helps us in the 2, 3, 5-year roadmap that's coming online at the same time. So it's extremely important that all of those elements flow together, and all of this is you know, kind of a platform for why we're fans of the Sitefinity CMS. We've seen a couple of those features touched on as Chris and the others have given that demo. But honestly, it's a game-changing technology for our clients. It's been a great enabler. It's a much more mature and functional product than some of the more legacy CMSs, and we've been quite happy with it. So with that being said, we're going to go into 2 customer challenges where we brought the Sitefinity CMS to bear. So number one, we've got a client up in Detroit called the Automotive Industry Action Group, and they're a large trade association. Primary revenue stream is really events. So they sell all kinds of classes and online seminars and training and LMS engagements. So very transactionally oriented. And they had a nicely designed website. It was responsive, it was attractive, it was brand centered, but it was all hard coded. It was a Cold Fusion based site, nobody shudder, okay? Nobody pass out. Cold Fusion is an awful thing to have to deal with at certain times. But they had over 1,000 pages of hard-coded content. So kind of going back to Michael's presentation earlier today, can you imagine implementing a content strategy with hard-coded Cold Fusion pages? So what this ended up doing was all these departments that were passionate about the work that they did and the customers that they served were going out and spinning up WordPress sites and HubSpot sites and email marketing campaigns over here that were all disconnected. They weren't a part of a single cohesive ecosystem. The messaging was inconsistent, the user experience was inconsistent, and it was a real challenge for the organization. Transactionally, they were dealing with a checkout process that could be 8 to 10 steps. Right? So if your business is selling you know, event registrations and it takes a customer 15 to 20 minutes to check out, that's not going to be a good user experience, right? So it was a very bogged down process. Underneath all of this, they had an association management system called IMIS, and it was just poorly integrated. It was not done well, and it had been homegrown and put together, cobbled together over years. And it was just getting in the way of successfully engaging with their customers. And then they also had a very outdated and disconnected online community. They were using it for committee collaboration and some other things like that, but it was the redheaded stepchild of the organization. It wasn't providing any value. It was a constant source of complaint, and really needed to be completely revitalized in order to engage with their membership. And then on top of that, they had, I think, 5 different primary systems. So these are major systems, all with no single sign-on. So you would have to log in multiple times, sometimes with different credentials, to get access to content that you already had permissions for. So it was certainly a problematic state of affairs. And so the decision points for them, how do we enable our non-technical users to manage content? I mean, this is foundational. They have 8 or 10 different departments, each of which had their own content strategies and needs, but none of them, were able to do that on their own. How do we provide an attractive user experience for our customers? Not just good design, but an actual attractive, functional user experience. How do we simplify our AMS integration? How do we actually make this work so that people have a good experience when they're on our site? How do we provide a way for our committees and members to collaborate and communicate effectively? How do we bring a cohesive experience for our members instead of sending them off to 18 different microsites here and there? And then, single sign-on, how do we get people to log in once and access all of our web services at the same time? So the solution was, with Sitefinity at the core, was kind of a hybrid model. In Foundation 648, when we started the company, we're not a one-shoe-fits-all type of organization. We're going to try and find the best solution to fit your particular needs. And in this instance, Sitefinity CMS was a fantastic fit to handle the overall web experience, right? In order to manage the content and to bring in all the integration layers with the AMS. But then we also brought Intelligent Community. We're also a partner with Intelligent. It's an enterprise social platform, a fantastic way to enable social engagement through a web interface. We also needed a standards-based single sign-on server, so we ended up deploying a ThinkTexture open source SSO solution, which gave us all kinds of capabilities for single sign-on with these other properties. So you log in once, you've got all the access rights and privileges that you need to on every system that's connected up to it. And then we also wrote an IMIS integration layer using the particular IMIS technology that was able to help us standardize the checkout process. So instead of 3 or 4 different methods to check out, it's one method and it's 3 steps, right? So a whole lot more improved user experience. And they mentioned Sitefinity and MVC support. This was all written in MVC with REST web services in the background, and a fully supported object model as well, which really makes programming and development going forward a whole lot easier. And then the results, we launched it just a couple of months ago, so July of 2015. But now we've got 15 plus content authors that are all actively contributing content. So we actually had to increase the concurrent user license right after we went live because there was so much demand for people being in the system at once. And they were all very excited about it. And so far, the results have been phenomenal. They've been able to create microsites and mini sites and manage content and manage their navigation. They've been able to do a lot of content optimization and bring in their content strategies, so their HubSpots and some of their other email marketing is now being focused around the website instead of microsites and other domains. So it's kind of bringing all of that content ecosystem into one platform. And also now IT is freed up from having to make content changes. They can now focus on a lot more strategic operations, and they're no longer a bottleneck for handling those types of modifications to the site. We've had a dramatically improved online user experience. We've got a fully integrated and engaging intelligent social platform that's involved, single sign-on across all the web properties, and also significantly improved performance. Performance before this was doggedly slow. And we've been able to reduce transaction times across the board. I got a couple of quick slide or screenshots here just to show you the user interface. And the only thing I wanted to highlight here is we do see a cohesive design, and a unified user experience across the different properties. We've got the primary Sitefinity site. We've got the ThinkTexture SSO server, which handles all the authentication and user privileges, and then the Intelligent User Community. And all of this is integrated into one seamless ecosystem, which has worked out phenomenally. The next one I wanted to highlight is a customer here locally, Indiana Farm Bureau. Wanted to kind of highlight the challenges that they were facing. So they were on an old, outdated CMS, which I will not mention. It was a clumsy and difficult editing experience. So the way that the content was structured and organized in the CMS didn't make sense. It was clunky to make changes to that content and manage navigation. It was really a poor authoring experience across the board. Not only that, the training threshold was really high, so it was hard to get other people involved in the organization. They kind of got a glimpse of what it took or what it meant to manage content, and they were no longer interested. So the CMS was really detracting from adoption within the organization. IT had limited ability to support and troubleshoot the platform as well. It tended to require quite a bit of specific knowledge about the CMS platform in order to make it work. And there was a constant back and forth about making sure that the product was up and running the way that it should. There was no mobile support. Indiana Farm Bureau has a pretty extensive CRM and membership system. There was no real integration with that. There was some ad hoc integration to allow some authentication based on that information, but it was very poor. There was no support for dynamic mini sites or landing pages or things like that. So trying to go in and create a new experience for users that was outside of the hard-coded templates really was not possible without programmer support. There was buggy and unsustainable code, and there was no staging environment. So, as you get into larger implementations, the idea of having code and content staging becomes very important. The solution that was there for staging content was inadequate, but that was a big driver for Indiana Farm Bureau going forward. So the solution, and I purposely chose the Tommy Boy slide because we had to blow up everything that was there at that point in time. And we implemented a Sitefinity CMS that would become the new CMS platform. Much simpler user interface for content authoring, some advanced content and template management without really needing to access code. So, and I'm sure they're going to cover that in the technical demo as they go through, but being able to manage and manipulate not just your pages, but your templates within the CMS is a very powerful way to enable technical and advanced users who you don't want, writing C# code, but they can have the ability to really create their own user experiences all within the management interface that Sitefinity provides. They also provide a content sync functionality. So we're able to stage content, we're able to preview that content, and then push that content out to a production environment. So we have a hands-off, high availability production environment that's all managed via the content sync. We introduced a responsive design. So we've got mobile and tablet support across all the applications that are there now. We also did some extensive CRM integrations. So including a single sign-on application with, it's a Java-based single sign-on protocol as well. So one of the things I just wanted to highlight there is Sitefinity as a platform does very well when you're talking about integration with other systems. So it is very much a development platform, not just a tool set or a product. And you really can extend it to do what you need it to do, again, based on the Microsoft.NET stack. So lots of support for integrating with third-party systems and other things that you might need to do, and we've had excellent experience doing that. Indiana Farm Bureau, the results. So we launched in November of 2014, so just about a year. We've got complete mobile support now across the website, whereas before there was no mobile functionality that was there. It was quite a poor experience when you're coming in via phone or a tablet. And since that time, we've seen about a 50% increase in mobile traffic. So it's gone from about 18% of mobile traffic to about 27%, which we typically find when we release a responsively designed site. You're going to see a pretty good bump in the number of users that are accessing the site via a mobile or a tablet, simply because it's usable and it's a much better experience than what they would find before. We've been able to provide single sign-on across all the web properties. So Indiana Farm Bureau has an online account management tool that is deployed both for the membership side and for the insurance side of the organization. And now customers can log in once, be authenticated into both properties, have all their account management tools directly embedded within the site, and it's a cohesive and seamless user experience. And now they've got the ability to maintain and extend that solution in-house as well. So a much better platform for the growth of the organization as they look to do much more on the web and with Sitefinity. So another quick slide. This is a before shot of what the website looked like, and now the after shot at the same time. And we can see the different responsive views that are there and how the content is optimized. And honestly, the content editing tools that allow you to preview content in a mobile environment are really very functional and really help the content authors ensure that we're producing not just templates that are responsive and mobile friendly, but the content itself. And with the built-in support with the content structuring that's there, it really does making building and maintaining a mobile-friendly website much more simple than it used to be. And we and our customers have certainly taken advantage of that. And as we look towards the future with Indiana Farm Bureau, we're currently in the evaluation stages of an organizational deployment. So currently this has been deployed on the membership side of the organization. We're also talking with the insurance side of the organization about bringing all of their public-facing web properties into a Sitefinity enterprise installation. Basically, the whole idea of many sites, one code base, one solution, is going to dramatically improve the maintainability and the flexibility that they're going to enjoy. We're also working on a collaborative and team-based software development lifecycle to make sure that all the different parties that are involved will be able to collaborate on the development of the product and make sure that we have a well-managed, well-orchestrated release cycle at the same time. We're looking at personalization and cross-channel analytics and experience optimization through the Digital Experience Cloud. This is a huge game changer. I don't know how much exposure you've had to the Digital Experience Cloud. We as an organization and our customers as well are very excited about the capabilities that this will provide for us in terms of what it allows for truly building a personalized engagement with each and every customer. It's amazingly functional. And once you get your head wrapped around the concepts and the functionality that's there and the integration between the products, it really does make it achievable to provide a highly personalized, highly effective web experience for each type of user that comes across your site. So we think that's a huge game changer. We're very excited about it. Indiana Farm Bureau is very excited about it. Most of our Sitefinity clients are very excited about it. So I'll kind of use that as, right, I know that's the next point of the presentation, so I'll kind of leave that with you. But that being said, that was a quick run through of these particular user scenarios. And again, it was probably drinking from a fire hose. I know I spoke quickly and shared a lot of information. Happy to address any questions or comments that you might have, but our goal was really primarily to show you some real world examples of how Sitefinity came in, was able to solve some core problems that these businesses had, to eliminate those problems, and really give them a platform they can build on for a future digital success.